floor is open. But while people are thinking, may I just ask one question which was not made very clear to you by you at the beginning? Why is it called the Gandhara Civilization? You know, why Gandhara? Why the name? Can you explain that?
Yeah, actually Gandhara is, you know, very well defined. The country which is located from Bactria to Taxila. So that was the reason that it was the Gandhara means Gandhara, the country where civilization was born. That's why we call Gandhara civilization. Like Indus civilization was born, so we call it along the Indus. So we call Gandhara means because the Gandhara. After Gandhara, we call Gandhara civilization because it's the country where the large number of sites were located, where this civilization was born. That is the reason we call Gandhara civilization.
I see. So it's the name of the place.
Yeah.
Name of the place. The name of the place. Yeah.
Okay.
Gandhara was.
Hi, Commissioner. Please, you speak.
You see, as far as I know, the Persians writing, Persian Chinese monk visited this region. His writings answer your question. His book mentions Gandhara as the name of a wild flower that grows in this region, that has a very good smell, like jasmine, and so the word Gandhara is the valley of the wild flower with that smell.
The end of the fragrance.
Fragrance. Gandha is the fragrance.
And the name of Gandhara was also mentioned for the first time in the Rig Veda.
You find the name in the Vedas.
Yeah, but my question was, why was it called Gandhara rather than where it was found? Okay. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Lam Chi Chong. I'm partner at a private equity fund, Excavation. My question is, I'd like to know, during ancient times, like during the Kushana or the Ashokan Empire, the Mauryan Empire, was it that the Gandhara area had exceptionally high level of Buddhist religiosity manifested in also in a high concentration, higher density of temples and monasteries? Or is it that this is more the result of preservation, that it didn't have a higher level of Buddhist religiosity? It's just that the monuments there have survived better than in the rest of the Indian subcontinent. And if it did indeed have a higher level of religious monuments and concentration and religiosity, why would that be the case vis-a-vis the rest of the Indian subcontinent?
Actually,
You have to speak a little louder.
actually, as you know very well, that this Buddhism was introduced to Gandhara in 4th century BC by Ashoka Mauryan. Why he chose this place? Because actually this piece was very fertile in that area, and like from Afghanistan to Taxila, these were fertile area. There were so many gardens, and there were so many rivers, and which attracted this area because this was for defensive purpose, also for security reasons. And so the number of stupas that we have in Gandhara that we have recorded recently, more than 5,000. So that was the reason that they have chosen especially this area, especially Gandhara area, due to security reason, because the area was fertile. And even the people they welcomed, especially the local people, they welcome this Buddhism. And still this is our cultural heritage. We have a large number of projects we are preserving. We have so many projects still. We have more than 2,000 students. They are doing the research, PhD, master study, and still we are very active. We are conducting excavation on these Buddhist monasteries.
Do you have anything to add? Very quickly.
Actually, there was later on we see that there was the revival of Hinduism. So the Buddhists went to Gandhara, and they stayed, and there was very important universities there. So the people from China and India, they went there and they stayed there. They learned many things in those universities of Taxila, And the Gandhara after India, after the birthplace or the place where Buddha preached, Gandhara became the second holiest place of India for Buddhists. Even in those days, it's not that we have many sites and that's why you can say that it's a no. It was even important in those days.
Well, yeah, okay, but also just to add my little 2 cents in response to your question, for both reasons, as you say. Both that it is better preserved, it's better preserved due to the interest shown by Sir John Marshall in the 1930s and 40s. And those days, there was a fascination among the Victorian British, as you know, for everything that was Greek. So they were very impressed by the Greek and Hellenistic influences, which were only confined to that region, not lower down, nor not in the Indus Valley civilization. So partly what you say, and partly the responses that the professors have given you. Professor Murthy.
Thank you very much for a very comprehensive presentation. This rich civilization spread out into Afghanistan also. How did the revival of Hinduism again in this area and the incoming of Islam affected it? And what was the Pakistan reaction when the Bamiyan caves and cravings were blasted by Taliban?
We condemn, because is the direction, what did the Taliban, because the Taliban, they start this, the Buddha at Bamiyan, and we, because as a human being, also because this belong to our cultural heritage, we condemn already. And Pakistan, as you know very well, that Pakistan is very rich, and especially this Buddhist culture heritage. I'm coming to your question because we are preserving, we are not up, we are doing our best to preserve because this is our culture. It is the culture belong to the human being. So as concerned, especially recently, Taliban, they never, of course, they started the Buddha in Bamiyan, but as you know very well that these Taliban, they are very near the frontier of Pakistan, but as in Pakistan, they never, disturb, they never damages, our monastery, our stupa, as Peshawar is located in the, very near to the Afghanistan borders, but they never try to, to damage, also disturb this Buddhist monastery. The Buddhism was actually, as I mentioned already, it was destroyed and it was in the 5th century AD when the White Horns came. So they destroyed all these Buddhist establishment, especially in the Peshawar Valley. But these sanctuaries which are Buddhist sanctuaries which were lying in the Swat area in Gilgit-Baltistan, because these White Horns, they never went to this Gilgit-Baltistan area, Swat area. And this Buddhism was replaced by we call the later Hindu Shais, which was replaced 5th to 7th, 8th century AD, especially in Peshawar Valley. This Buddhism was replaced by the Hindu Shais family, and later on we called when the Muhammad Ashraf came in 11th century AD, because Islam came especially in the Gandhara area very late from Ghazni in 11th century AD. But these Buddhist establishment were already in decline during the period of 5th century AD.
Yeah, but how did you see the destruction of the Bamiyan by the Taliban? So you saw it as a condemnable event?
No, we of course, we condemned it. Personally, after destruction, I went there along with my fellow, and now Professor Tarzi is doing excavation. Our institute also busy to conduct excavation on their side. So of course we condemn this, what the Taliban did in Bamiyan.
What was the state reaction?
No state reaction, but also it is the reaction of the people. Reaction of the people. We condemn.
People, yes.
We condemn because very well like that. The Buddhism, because we were Buddhist. Our ancestors, they were Buddhist. The Buddhism was there, from 6th century BC to 10th century AD. So our ancestors, our forefathers, because they were Buddhist, When the Greek came, we accepted the Greek religion. When the Buddhist came, we became Buddhist. When the Hindus came, we converted to Buddhism. When the Islam came, we became Muslim. Because there was no, or we say choice, other thing. But still, yeah, of course, the 11th century AD, but still, we have, as I mentioned earlier, 5,000 Buddhist stupas and monastery. And among those, only 100 stupa will be excavating. And the rest, we are, because as you know very well, this excavation, it's a time-consuming job. It needs lot of, financial aid. I'm working, on these days, since 2002, I'm working on the Buddhist monastery, which is located on at Badipur and Taxila. I already spent more than 2 million rupee on that site, 2 million Pakistani rupee. It is very, very expensive. So fortunately, our brother Pakistan doing our best. We have already, completed a project that is about 2,100 euro with the European community for preservation of Gandhara monument at Sabat. We have already completed another Buddhist heritage site we call Ranigarh. So we are doing our best, to preserve this heritage of the mankind. There are more than 500 students in my institute. They are doing their research, especially on the Gandhara, on philosophy, art, and architecture. And today we are here because we are here just to invite you. Please come to Pakistan. We will provide you all the facilities. You would like to that you come and participate in our excavation. That is for the reason we are here. We would like to send a Gandhara exhibition here. To Gandhara exhibition, we would like to make an MOU with I hope with professor, and the field of exchange of expert, exchange of curator, exchange of Buddhist scholar, even exchange of publication. So all you are welcome to Pakistan. We will provide you all the local hospitality, and I hope that even you can stay for a good time to participate in our excavation. You will see we have the tolerance, we are lateral, we are not fanatic, and really, of course, everywhere there are only 1 to 3%, the people are fanatic, and the rest, alhamdulillah, we are all, this is our culture heritage, and this is our, actually, we belong to this civilization.
Have the scholars in Pakistan made any comparative study of, Taxila Buddhist University and Nalanda University, and if so, what are the findings, and were there any similarities or dissimilarities, or will it be a project to be undertaken later if you have not already done it?
We have not yet taken this project, but we hope in the future we will make a comparative study with Gandhara and with Nalanda. But we have a lot of, like Professor Dani, he was my teacher. So he has a lot of documentation, research, and publication line and all of it. And we hope with your collaboration, we have a lot of students, more than 500, and it is a very interesting topic. So with your collaboration, with your assistant, we will prepare some students to. This is very important, interesting subject.
Yeah, that is true. Interestingly, Professor Dani, by the way, went to the Hindu University in Banaras for his first graduation. And he covers in many ways India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, educated in India, served in Bangladesh, and eventually lived and worked in Pakistan as well. Till he died at the age of 84, 85? 90. Sorry.
I'm Arun from the Institute of Policy Studies in Singapore. What references do you have in the Chinese side of the connection between Gandhara and China? You had 2 visitors there. What kind of references were made about this site and the monuments there?
Yeah.
And the life, Buddhist life.
Yeah, we have projects, with the Dungguk, the Dunghang, monasteries. So as you know very well, the Buddhism was spread, Mahayana, especially Mahayana Buddhism was spread from Gandhara to to Central Asia, even to China, and finally Korea and Japan. So we have the similarity actually, as you know very well that recently we have discovered a large number of fresco painting, that is in stuccos, and also in our monastery. So that is very much similar, which depicts, like even not only the Duncan chaos, but even Ajanta and Ellora. So we have discovered those kind of paintings, which were discovered during my recent excavation on the Jentam Valley Diri located in Taxila. So I think even that those fresco paintings depict the life of Buddha. So many similarity with the not only Ajanta, Ellora, but also Afghanistan. So this similarity that even the sculpture, the iconography was the same, but even the Gandhara art and the Chinese art is very much similar. But even the features, that is they are the Chinese and we have Hellenistic and Indian.
Thank you.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, sir.
Caller, we don't get an opportunity. You mentioned about some of the Hebrew texts that we have found in the Gilgit-Baltistan area.
Yeah.
These Hebrew texts, have you been able to find out when these Hebrew texts were written and who wrote them?
Actually, this Hebrews, this survey was carried out by Professor Hoffman of the Heidelberg University. He mentioned this was just one of the pilgrims who visited this area in 7th, 8th century AD. And we have two inscriptions. One is belonging to first century AD, and the second century. These are just the pilgrims or you can say monks who visited this area during that time. This is just the mention of the pilgrims. Yeah. So that's me because these all inscriptions are lying on the Silk Road. So this was a trade route, trade route between east and west. And even not only here, but we have other Jewish inscriptions which are recently discovered in Sindh area. In Sindh, in Kita range.
Yes.
Yes, my name is Lam Kim Fu. I'm a retired lawyer. There's a perception among quite a lot of people, some highly educated ones, that Buddhism is a godless religion. Unlike Christianity or Islam, there is a supreme force in heaven that rules over all mankind. And there's another belief that it is more a philosophy, a way of life, than a religion. What is that?
Yeah, I don't know about the modern Buddhism, but when we study the early Buddhism, that is the real Buddhism, there is no God in Buddhism, neither in Hinduism. Because in Hinduism, there are many gods, and even the gods are subject to karma. So the real thing is karma. Whatever you do, in the next life you be reborn like that, an animal, a human, a god. It depends on karma. So the most important thing is karma. What was the next?
No, it's Buddhism is sometimes described as a godless religion, as opposed to others.
Yeah.
So
So Hindus and Buddhists the same. Like Buddhism is though a bit different from Buddhism, and it is true that there is no God in Buddhism. The most important thing is what you do. If you are static, you no more desire of the world, the wishes. You are nearer to nirvana. You are getting climbing to different steps at nirvana, and at the end you get the mahaparinirvana, and you no more. You extinguish like the light. So you no more. There are no more births and rebirths when you get the mahaparinirvana like the Buddha. But like the lay followers or monks, there are different stages. and it depends on carmine.
I think the idea is reincarnation, the subject that you're talking about, reincarnation and moksha, which is the release from reincarnation. And that is a strong point of Buddhism, you see, where you are released from coming back again. You reach nirvana. Nirvana is a heaven. So obviously, there must be a heaven. If there's a heaven, there must be someone who's created it. So, and after that, but I wanted to ask High Commissioner, who's very knowledgeable.
It can be, we will give, High Commissioner will have the last floor. Before that, you give him, you ask him the question, because I'd like him to round off the event with some remarks of his own. But Madam,
no, I haven't finished.
Okay.
I got a second question, was the route that Fascian took. I was thinking, I was thought, he also was not alone. He had two companions. And they came to India, they got the faith and they went back. But I thought Tibet was a better route and an easier route for them to come to India, not as I understood the other way around. Am I right?
Yeah.
I don't know, am I right?
No, you see, let me respond to that. You see, I have little knowledge on this, so but I can tell you the Fascian took the route. Tibet, even today, is a difficult route. I've been to Tibet also, so I've been to all along this route. I haven't written Journey to the West, but even today, Tibet would be an insurmountable route, and that's why you see the Fascian, or even those who went before him, Tangxian and Hoping and so many others, you know. That is a part that I am actually delivering at the Buddhist Federation tomorrow, the Chinese connection, because that's my forte. So all those who came in search of sutras, I mean, Buddhism actually reached Tibet in the 8th century, when the princess married a royal family of the Tang dynasty. So Buddhism came to Tibet much later. So most of them have taken this Gobi and across the Gobi to these areas. And that's what you see in Fascian's book, also in Journey to the West also, and all others before him.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Abha Kaul, and I'm with Friends of the Museums here. I'm a guide at the Asian Civilizations Museum. In fact, I just did a tour yesterday on Kushan coins and Gandharan art. My question is, has there been any other excavations done on the famous Kanishk Stupa in Peshawar, which after 1908, 1909, when they excavated the base? Shaji Ki Deri.
Unfortunately, Shaji Ki Deri, that was excavated, as you know very well, during the time of British, conducted by Marshal Spooner, etc. A large number of antiquities were recovered from that site, which are lying now in Peshawar and various museums. But later on, during that period, not yet, during that period, that is, before the creation of Pakistan, that site was unfortunately encroached by the local people and by the cemetery. So now there is no traces. There are no traces of that site. So unfortunately.
So there's no further excavation being done in
because
those areas?
as I mentioned, that the site was encroached by the local people. They built their houses, and even a cemetery was encroached on that site. So there is no further excavation on that site.
It is difficult to excavate some graveyard, like Muslim or any religious place.
Not only Muslim, but the cemeteries are not in big in size, but they are the local people, they build their houses. So it is very difficult to demolish all these houses. And so
Who excavated that originally?
So originally that was excavation by Spooner.
Spooner,
Hargreaves.
Yeah, okay, because Marshall came a little later.
Marshall
and the preservations really began with Marshall's excavations in the 30s. So unfortunately, yeah. Anybody else? Those who have not asked before. Go first.
There's a
Yeah.
related question. Do your archaeological department follow excavating exclusively for Buddhist monuments, or do you also look at other remains, non-religious remains of the same period?
No, we are not only focusing on Gandhara, but we are doing our research, our excavation on the Enlightened Civilization. We are doing our research on the prehistoric period, like behavior, which was excavated by Mr. Jarij, Jean-François Jarij at the Musée Guimet. So we have, in Pakistan, we have more than, fortunately, 13 archaeological missions. Like Korean, they are working in Taxila, the French, there are three teams from French University, Sorbonne University, Clermont-Ferrand University, and Saint-Germain-en-Laye. So they are all these three missions, they are working, still working in Balochistan on the prehistoric sites. So we also the mission of Wisconsin University, led by Professor Mark Canal. Mark Canal, he was the students of Professor Bales. And we have Harappan archaeological missions, still they are working there. So we are also working we are on the Hindu sites like Katasraj. Katasraj located, in the district Jhelum or Pindi. So not only we are focusing, focus only on Gandhara, but we are a Special Institute, our Department of Archaeology, the federal, provincial, or we are doing from prehistoric to even on the Islamic sites, not only on Gandhara.
Okay. Very quick.
During the archaeological excavations in Gandhara, have you come across any Hindu ruins? Or that's one question. The other is, because of probably I'll ask it later if you want to give a chance.
Okay. Does anybody else want to ask questions? Yes, sir.
Just want to check with you whether this Gandhara civilization and Indus Valley civilization, is it two different periods or is it the same period?
Of course, Indus civilization they belong to 2000 to 500 BC to 1900 BC, and Gandhara civilization, which was flourished from 6th century BC to even 10, and in some area we also these ruins which belong to 13th and 14th century area in Gilgit, Pakistan, the area which is very close to Ladakh and Tibet. So, yeah, I'm coming to a question. We have
No, roughly about 2,000 years.
I have a supplementary question. That is, are there any scholars in Pakistan trying to decipher the Indus script, which has not been deciphered?
Yeah, unfortunately, it is very difficult. We have only one scholar from Oxford University, Asko Parpola. So Asko Parpola, he is already established, the chronology of Indus civilization. He has that. There is no scholar in Pakistan, but some students they are still working, but it is very difficult. We have not yet deciphered, the Indus script. But some, some letters, some alphabet we have deciphered. It is which is very similar to Egypt and Mesopotamia.
Okay. Before I end, Commissioner, would you like to say a few words to end?
Thank you. I wish to thank Dr. Iftikhar Chaudhary and the Institute of South Asian Studies for giving this opportunity to these two scholars to show an aspect of Pakistan which is very little known, and certainly Pakistan is a melting pot civilization, as the two scholars mentioned, and it is my objective in this arranging the visit of these two scholars is to bring the multiculturalism of Pakistan and multicultural heritage of Pakistan to the knowledge of our Singaporean friends. And maybe we can, through this exchange, we can promote cooperation in the area of multiculturalism and cultural heritage. Pakistan has a lot to share in the area of Buddhist cultural heritage with the rest of the world. And also, as we say, Pakistan is the home of great religions and philosophies. So I think through this initiative, the High Commission
and the Institute of South Asian Studies. We have made a humble effort to enrich the knowledge about the civilization of Pakistan and South Asia. And I thank, sincerely, once again, I thank the two scholars. They have a busy schedule here. They have a program with Singapore Buddhist Federation, where I am answering one of the questions put of the China connection, because that's my area. I just returned from Beijing 3 days ago, and it is always fabulous to talk about questions that was raised. So, and they are here on a very short mission, but I would like to see them more frequently, and also scholars from and students from Singapore going and seeing Pakistan. This is world heritage. This is not the heritage of Pakistan only. This is not the heritage of Asia only. Look at the richness and the fabulous thing that South Asia, in particular Pakistan's Gandhara, only Gandhara. We just talked about Gandhara, but there are so many. What he was talking about, Mehergarh, Harappa, Indus Valley. So through this visit, we want to convey that we are interested in such exchanges, and I am particularly thankful to Dr. Professor Chaudhary and ISIS for making my message and making this possible.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We will bring this to a close just after I have thanked our two very distinguished speakers, and thank all of you for coming here and sharing with us this extremely enlightening evening on this very ancient culture, tradition, civilization. Two little points. At one point was you said that you would be happy to exchange these knowledge with Singapore, and we hope it will be possible for you to share in the form of, like you do with the university or with the museums in Paris, share with Singapore our cultural heritage museums, perhaps some pieces. I mean, that will probably require some understanding, but we are prepared to go through that. So maybe this is one point that you want to bear in mind. We'll work with the High Commission, with yourself, with the government, so that the people of Singapore are exposed to this richness of South Asian culture that you possess in Pakistan. You also demonstrated through the lectures today that though we are different countries in South Asia, and today, as I said earlier, in ISAS we study modern South Asia, there are elements in us that go to unite us much more than divide. So that is the ultimate takeaway from session such as this. We do that, and we wish you to go away with a little remembrance from on behalf of ISAS. I give both of you these small tips. Please remember and thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. ISAS is most grateful. Thank you very much.